What a delightful surprise to see our old human captain friend again. We often think of you and how you aided the clans in their revolution to overthrow the Zeebrate dynasty. Stories are told to hatchlings. It's been too long. We thought you'd settled for a quiet life on Vela. What brings you here in a Chimera starship? We're pleased to see our old friend. Missing's your fixie, you say? We have no news on their patrols, but a Terminator scout group reported something interesting on Gamma Genos 2 while chasing a lone Korra vessel. You might consider checking it out. Apparently it bore the hallmarks of a precursor item. The group was in hot pursuit and had no chance to investigate. The Yehat prospered. We have expanded our sphere of influence back to where it was before the Great Wars. Since we were battle thralls, we were less scathed by Ur-Quan domination than other races. While others rebuild their homeworlds, we've been able to put our energies into helping the Chimera eliminate remaining Korra Moraldas from this region of space. It saddens me to see them struggle so. The Shafixi are eking out a meager existence in the Gono constellation. With their old homeworld destroyed, they are in a desperate search for more fertile grounds. Also, the Chimera won't permit the Alliance to direct too much aid into their struggle, as our resources are needed to eliminate the Korra threat. Our Pkunk brethren have integrated back into our society and have had a profound influence on our outlook of life, though I'm not sure how they expect to reintegrate biologically. In fact, the thought disturbs me somewhat. Just between ye and me, human, the Chimera haven't turned out exactly what we thought they'd be. We expected a supremely benevolent and wise race, much like the Chenjesu. Well, they are wise, but I'm not sure about benevolent. They showed little attitude to the Mycon votes. Not that either race deserve much. Also, I've noticed that they show no mercy to Korra. They take no surrender and just destroy on sight. Better to be on their side than not, to be sure. Goodbye, Earthling friend. You're always welcome in Yehat's space. Human Captain Friend! It is my pleasure as Station Commander to welcome ye to our first joint Pkunk and Yehat colony.
But my dear brother, I think you're still dizzy from this morning's chanting session. We had agreed on this. It is I who gets to play Station Commander for today.
As you can see for yourself, Captain, we're still struggling with the concept of shared leadership. Please, come back later. You can consult our Pkunk Queen on Gamma Serpentis 1 in the meanwhile.
I trust you don't mind my bypassing regular channels to talk to you directly. It is wonderful to see you again. In a way, yes. We spoke from the heart there, all as one speaking as all. I spoke to you then from my heart, though I wasn't really aware of it at the time, and I'm not sure what we said, but yes, we did. Yes, that was quite important, and thank you for your guidance on the timing of our return. A joker. Next you'll be telling me the month of the bloody moon is coming up. I didn't hatch yesterday, you know. I was looking for an excuse to turn that fleet around just then. Say, I heard one of your human jokes. Would you like to hear it? So it goes, a rabbi, a Nietzschean transhumanist, and a length of rope walk into a bar on a damaged spaceship that's about to crash. No, wait, the rabbi is dyslexic. Or was it Spinoza instead of the rope? Think it's a joke? You're right. Maybe I drowsed off and mixed up your philosophical tracks with your science fiction novels. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. The rebel clan's main victories were moral and with words. The people yearned for change, but rebellion was unacceptable. And asking nicely didn't look like it would get very far, which put them in a bit of a tight spot, right? It got to the point that the loyalists weren't so much loyal to the Queen as against the idea that rebellion was a good way of changing government. But the Queen separation was absolute, so no one could say that. In the end, they just agreed to make someone queen while skipping the rebellion step. I'm not sure how that part works, and neither are they. And who better than someone truly neutral in that fight? Someone reasonably coherent, conciliatory, very photogenic, and who maintains all of those while having the old tar beaten out of her. So, in the span of a day, I went from little old Bracky-Gurdy, inmate number something or other, to Bracky-Gurdy the First. And that's quite a difference, let me tell you. It's not really about me, is it? The clans needed a symbol to unite them. A symbol that happens to wield absolute executive power. I do what needs to be done, and don't do the other things. Mainly what needs to be done is to figure out what needs to be done. It's getting harder now that people know, no matter how far I have my head in the clouds, I'm hard to fool. I didn't get where I was among the Pkunk by tolerating phoniness. There is quite a lot of that around these days. Hooty my bee, yes it is. I'm adapting though, that's what life does it not? A little change, adapt, another little change, adapt, a big change. Go extinct mostly, but some adapt. This and that, factionalism, xenophobia, turning a blind eye to the needy, refusal to consider alternatives, and most troubling to the peers, perversion of honor. Nothing we haven't all lived with for as long as our respective species have been sapient. Court is a little bit like wading through mud. You can do it with flat, wide feet or long, thin legs. I go with the long, thin legs myself. You could also wear a wetsuit. Maybe that's more of what I'm doing, but sometimes you wish you could exercise the whole lot of it. But these demons belong here. They're ours. The outer darkness can't have them. On this? Not that I know of. Please, though, do prevent the destruction of all life in the galaxy. That would be dreadfully inconvenient. Somewhat busy. The most important part is finding good people. And the second most important part is trusting them. That's hard, but you have to do it. We're all children before the cosmos, and nothing's worse than some brat who thinks she can run everyone else's lives. A perspective like that helps as a queen. It's not half as interesting to hear the description as it is to actually sniff the stew of mixing cultures, to guide and learn and find things out, to squint out the liars and expose them to the light of day, for their own good, of course, and ride the updraft of civilization as far as we can. As awful as things can get, you always need to look up. It always comes back to that, doesn't it? I can hardly express an opinion without thinking about how someone's going to interpret it. Ah, so wonderful to speak with someone who isn't so extremely careful with words. What do I think? It's way better than utter annihilation. Not even close. The way we're being sidelined by the Chmer is just a snip of bitter root in the stew of life. I would very much have loved to engage with the Vux and treat them with the love they need to be free of their negativity, but not to be. And the Mycon, well, as long as the planets they're rearranging aren't inhabited, well, they can do their thing too. Sure, they're a bit rough around the edges, could use a touch more loving kindness and consideration of the needs of others, but nobody's perfect. Some in this court welcome these decisions, but you know, Captain, that whatever happens, whoever you offend, and no matter the rules, as long as you look out for those on the bottom, as long as your compromises have heart, you're our friend. You're welcome here, even if you don't do those things, though we'll be somewhat less enthusiastic. Certainly. The first thing to understand is that there is more than one universe. Not an infinite number, but quite a few, and many of them are in little groups, each related to the others in a sequence. Our Your world is in one of these, and in the later version, I will be able to give you more concrete advice. But with the wind as it is, this meta-cosmology lesson is all I have to offer. Adios, humanos! Is that right? I'm not even sure that's the same like... Howdy loudy to you! I like these visits of yours because I can rarely let loose. When I say darn near anything that's just happy around here, everyone becomes quite confused and a bit worried. It's quite off-putting. I have a very private room that used to be used for dark conspiracies, and I just shout for joy in it. A much better use of the room, for sure. Adios, humanos! Welcome back to Rooty Peep, the home of all Yehat and Pkunk. Well, most of them, usually. Some of them, often. These days it seems like it's a few on occasion. Mmm.